Good evening, Rams! After a long winter break, we welcome you back to the nerdiest show on the air. We have lots of new things to explore since we last saw each other, but I am still Tom Isaacson.
And I'm still Alex Prast. We have a lot to catch up on together, and tonight, Tom and I are all about the best movies of 2022, as well as making our debut in the disruptive world of artificial intelligence.
That's right, Alex. We'll explore AI's meteoric rise to prominence that we've seen over the last few months. We'll take a look at AI and what it really is, and try to tell the difference between AI-generated artwork and good old-fashioned human effort.
Yes, but not before we share some pivotal nerd news, from AMC and Netflix changing the movie and television game, to future plans for Spider-Man and the DC Entertainment Universe.
All this and more, starting right now! "2022 was an excellent year for film. Once we got past Morbius, that is. We loved reviewing movies like Top Gun Maverick, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Everything Everywhere All at Once with you all last semester.
Now it's time to get back to it in a big way, speedrun our review from the biggest movies in the last 2 months.
As always, December and January were pretty full months for movie releases.
Yes, with the holidays bringing in tons of movie fans, there were a slate of options to choose from.
Not sure what to watch or not interested enough? Don't worry. Tom and I are now watching some of the biggest movies released over the holidays and letting you know our opinions.
Yes.
Now, before we get into the details, I've always been a firm believer that some bad movies are still very fun to watch and worth seeing. So instead of rating these movies on a generic scale of 1 to 10, we will instead be placing these movies on a graph. The x-axis being a scale from -5 to 5 on how good the movie was from a controlled technical standpoint, and the y-axis will be a scale also from -5 to 5 on how much fun we had watching the movie. The movies standing in the upper right quadrant will most likely be the best movies, and those in the lower left may not be worth paying to see. At the end, we will look at the graph and see how these movies compared to each other.
Alright, first up is M3 Gone.
This should be good. Play!
Megan is a horror movie about a hyper-realistic animatronic doll, programmed to be the best friend of a little girl. The intelligent AI gathers information and learns how best to be a good protector, teacher, and playmate. However, when Megan gets a bit too attached to who she is programmed to protect, unforeseen consequences ensue.
Wow, that definitely had the TikTok dances in it.
Yes, it did. It also had the AI thing in it, which is pretty prevalent for this episode.
Overall, the movie was fine. The CGI was pretty good, however the plot didn't grab our attention and the trailers gave away most major plot points. I gave Megan a technical 2 and an enjoyment of -2, placing it here. And Tom gives it a technical 3 and an enjoyment of -1. Averaging between us, Megan places here.
Alright, on to the Cat of Zorro. Wait, why are there so many people here?
I just really love Puss in Boots.
Probably the most shocking of this year was Puss in Boots. This movie starts by asking who is our favorite fearless hero, and boy does it answer it. A sequel to a forgotten animated movie, the film follows Puss in Boots after years of adventure. He is burnt through 8 of his 9 lives and sets out on one last quest to restore his total 9 lives.
Whoa! Oh my God! That was so good!
This movie was unbelievably fun. The jokes landed well, the action was awesome, the moral messages were deep, not a single complaint came to mind. I gave Puss in Boots a technical 4 and an enjoyment of 4.5. Tom shared my enjoyment and gives it a 4.5 and a 5. Between us two, this is the final placement.
Alright, what's next? Oh yeah, Blue Pocahontas 2.
Avatar: The Way of Water, the sequel that we waited 13 years for, follows the characters Jake Sully and Neatri as they raise a family in the time we haven't seen them. However, the ever-persistent and war-waging humans show back up on their planet Pandora, seeking more resources than before. Jake has to choose between protecting what he has gained and fighting for what he has lost.
Tom, the movie's over.
What?
The movie's over.
What time is it?
2 in the morning.
We started at 5 p.m. It just ended? Dang it, that's long.
It's a lot of blue people.
This long-awaited sequel brought out a lot of fun stuff. The plot was fine and did the job, while the visuals were absolutely stunning. The biggest complaint is the runtime, as the movie does not hide its length well. I gave Avatar 2 a technical 3 and a 3.5 for enjoyment. Tom praised the visuals more, giving it a technical 5 and a 3 for enjoyment. Evening us out, here is the final placement.
And I think that's everything. Oh yeah, 007's Murder Mystery Party came out.
Oh, yeah.
Glass Onion, a Knives Out story, sees a billionaire invite his friends for a vacation getaway on his private island. As whodunits go, someone turns up dead, and Detective Benoit Blanc is put on the case once again.
Wow, I didn't see that coming.
No, neither did I. I didn't think James Bond fighting Drax would be entertaining.
A for sure classic to be, Glass Onion was lots of fun. A nice spiritual successor to Knives Out, unexpected twists and turns are constant through the story, and they show in many fun ways. I gave this a technical 3 and a 4.5 on enjoyment. Tom gave this movie a technical 4 and an enjoyment of 4. Placing this right here on the graph. Now let's take a look at our final rankings. Megan lands as our lowest in the bottom right quadrant. Next up is Avatar, making it far in the enjoyment scale, but not quite making it to the best. After that is Glass Onion, which is very, very near to the top. Finally, the best movie in our rankings is Puss in Boots, almost getting a perfect 5 and 5 score. Luckily, 3 of these movies are in the top right quadrant, making them all still great contenders for a fun movie night, while Megan is most likely a hit or miss. Back to you in the studio.
Now, obviously, you know our thoughts on those 4 movies, but I think out of every movie that came out in 2022, I would have to say The Menu. It was just one of the most original movies I have ever seen in my life.
That movie was great. It was well shot, well written, everything, but I'm going to have to go with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Fantastic.
That movie, I sob every time I see it.
It's a really good choice.
Now, I think I know what's going to be my favorite movie of 2023. And that's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's coming out tomorrow. I'm going to go see it. I'm so pumped to see probably Ant-Man die in HD.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's going to be what happens.
Now, enough of that. Now that we've covered the past, it's about time we check back in with the present and the future and fill you in on the latest nerd news.
But not before a quick break. Stay tuned. When we see each other next, we'll be breaking down Netflix and AMC's money-saving and audience-angering moves, movie and franchise announcements from James Gunn and from Disney, and how HBO is on a roll.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back from the break. Let's get into some nerd news. And first, let's figure out exactly what Netflix is up to.
Netflix currently estimates that 100 million users are not paying to use the service, and they've lost about 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2022 alone. Yikes.
Yeah, so Netflix wants to crack down on password sharing to save money. Last week, it appeared that Netflix was implementing new rules about who can use an account and who can't. Now, what do these rules look like?
Well, Alex, I'm glad you asked, because an account has to be connected to a home Wi-Fi network, first of all, when you first sign up. And then that account can only then be used if it's connected to that same Wi-Fi network. On top of that, any use of the account outside of its linked Wi-Fi network must be confirmed between every 31 days.
Now, what does that confirmation look like? Well, according to these rules, the user must log into their account with the linked Wi-Fi network once every 31 days. So for us college students, if we're using our parents' account, that means you got to see old mom and dad at least once a month.
Yes, and for some of us that can be quite challenging. So I think that this is going to be a really weird change. I'm not really in favor of it. I'm kind of confused about, what this is going to look like, especially for college students. I think that one of the biggest problems is going to be, I use my parents' Netflix account. I don't get to take their Netflix account, so do I just not get to watch Netflix? Not that I was really anyway.
But even outside of that, what do we do if we're traveling?
It's
just not a sensible move.
Not a great move. Now, after a lot of concerns flying around on social media, Netflix took those new rules off their homepage and frequently asked questions page. In truth, these rules were mistakenly applied to the United States when in reality, they will only apply to Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru.
Yes, we are safe from Netflix's war against password sharing. For now. The streaming giant made it clear that these are not off the table, so now may be the time to start binge-watching New Girl on your friend's, partner's, cousin's account while you still can.
AMC Theaters is joining Netflix in angering their customers in an effort to make more money. The movie theater chain recently announced a tiered seating initiative in their theaters. It has 3 pricing tiers as follows. So first up, we've got standard sightline, which consists of the most common seats that are not directly in the center of the theater, and these are normally priced tickets according to AMC. Then, for those of you who like to sit in the front row, you are in luck, because that qualifies for value sightline, which includes front row seats as well as some handicap accessible seats as well. And those cost about $1 to $2 less than standard sightline seats. Lastly, for those who prioritize their movie watching experience by choosing the best seat available, you'll be paying $1 or $2 extra or more to sit in the center cluster of the seats in your theater. Those seats will be called the preferred sightline selection, and I think this is the dumbest move AMC has made in years.
AMC's always been my personal favorite. They do all the fun events and stuff, and this feels like a big step backwards for them.
I completely agree, and it's a great way to ruin cheap entertainment for families, and I think that this is just unbelievably sad.
Absolutely. And this new AMC seating charge matrix would actually be in addition to the convenience charges that come with advance or online ticket purchases. For some perspective, take this weekend's premiere of Ant-Man Quantumania, which is a movie that theaters are already increasing ticket prices for. The new AMC policy would cause a preferred sightline ticket purchased on the AMC site or app to increase from about $19.50 to $26.98. A lot of people aren't happy about this, but AMC will stand by their decision.
Unfortunately.
Now, after many failed attempts to create a successful cinematic universe based on the DC Comics characters, Warner Brothers Discovery hired director James Gunn and producer Peter Safran to create a new and finally cohesive cinematic universe. First came the disappointing Zack Snyder DCEU.
Then came very lackluster box office numbers from Black Adam starring Dwayne Johnson. And most recently, DC was shocked by Henry Cavill's departure from the franchise as Superman. Warner Brothers decided that, yeah, it's time for a change. So here comes Gunn and Safran.
The co-chief creative officers announced their plan for the now renamed DCU, formerly the unofficial DCEU. Those plans include some incredible movies. I mean, we're getting the new animated show Creature Commandos. We're getting the Waller show with the same actress from Suicide Squad.
What a great casting, by the way. She's easily part of my favorites. We're also getting a Superman legacy film. Again, unfortunately not including our boy Cavill, directed by James Gunn himself. Lanterns, a show with both Lanterns, Hal Jordan, and Jon Stewart. Yes,
Finally.
please. Oh, God, I hope it's Idris Elba.
Finally some Green Lantern.
Oh.
I've been waiting for this for so long.
Me too, dude.
After Ryan Reynolds. Oof.
Oh.
We're also getting a Supergirl show, Woman of Tomorrow, or a movie, excuse me. We're getting a sequel to Matt Reeves' The Batman still, and they're doing the DC Elseworld stuff, which means we still get Joker 2. We might get some side stories that aren't in the same universe, but they can still have fun with it.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be great. And we actually just got some teaser images of the next Joker movie, which is super exciting. And more movies and show titles will emerge from Gunn and Safran's vision, like The Authority, Paradise Lost, The Brave and the Bold, Booster Gold, and Swamp Thing.
And we can't forget the next project that will launch the new DCU, The Flash. Oh, I was dreading this movie for so long. I didn't think it should happen. And then that new big game commercial came out. Holy cow, this looks really good.
It unfortunately does, and I have to say, I think we're going to have a good time watching this, especially with old Keaton there that you see on your screens right now. I mean, it's going to be a fun, cheesy movie, I think, or at least I hope. We've been disappointed by DC trailers in the past, so I hope that this one's good, but I got to be honest, I don't have super high hopes for it.
Well, despite the controversy surrounding lead actor Ezra Miller, it will still be interesting to see where this film takes Gunn's new franchise.
The end of the age of sequels is apparently nowhere in sight. Well, not if Disney has anything to say about it, because they have announced 3 new movies. Now brace yourselves. Are these going to be new original films? No, of course not. First up, we've got Frozen 3. Do you remember any songs from the second one? Because I don't.
I remember one from the first one.
Yeah, was it Let It Go?
It was Let It Go.
Shocking. Then we've got Zootopia, or as the internet's been calling it, Tootopia. I mean, the first one was pretty fun. I figured this one was inevitable eventually. It was a pretty big success, and a lot of people liked it, but...
The one that feels weirdest, though, is Toy Story 5. That, like, they ended it perfectly with Toy Story 3, and then they did another one, we're like, okay, and then they ended it perfectly again with Toy Story 4. Now we're getting Toy Story 5?
Now, Disney must be thinking they'll be raking in the big bucks with these. But maybe not, because that same day, Disney announced they'll be laying off 7,000 employees. Good Lord.
Ooh.
That is tragic to hear. And there are many mixed opinions about the seemingly endless sequels coming from Disney, combined with the numerous layoffs coming from the company. It's hard to see anyone thinking of them favorably right now unless they're an 8-year-old waiting to see new toys based upon their favorite next movies coming out in the next few months.
Now, despite living through a pandemic, the world doesn't seem to be tired of zombie outbreak stories just yet. And I know I'm not. In fact, The Last of Us, the newest HBO series to hit the streaming platform, is one of the most successful shows available right now.
Now, Alex, I have a secret to tell you.
Let me hear it.
Because I have not been watching this.
No!
But my secret is that yesterday and today I actually went through and watched it all.
Yes! That's what I like to hear.
There is something so magical about this show. And it's really interesting to see because a lot of the internet and a lot of, the population agrees with me because a minimum of 10% of viewers are increasing after every episode. And it's got a 97% score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 91% score for audiences as well.
Well, it deserves it. I mean, this is the first video game thing where they brought original people, such as the original game co-creator Neil Druckmann. He got involved with the show. I mean, come on.
That's pretty awesome. My favorite thing, one of my favorite TV shows of all time is, as you know, Chernobyl. Mm-hmm. It's just so beautiful. And the magic of Chernobyl is coming through really well at this one because it's being directed by the same guy, which is super awesome. There's also been a bunch of deep dives and additions to context-given characters like Bill and Frank, which,
I mean, Frank was barely in the game. He was kind of tossed to the side. Bill was fascinating. No spoilers, but episode 3 with Bill and Frank, phenomenal. Oof. You got to see it with no information.
It's really good. This is a show that even if you've never played the games, even if you've never heard of The Last of Us, if you're a zombie fan, this is a show to watch. I guarantee it.
Well, as of today, we still have 4 episodes left, and I can't wait to see where the last of the season takes us.
Now, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is among the most popular superhero movies of all time, and while there are 2 sequels coming, it's not surprising that a spin-off is also in the works. What is surprising, however, is that spin-off will be a live-action show. So Spider-Man Noir is going to be the main character, and he was one of my favorites in the Spider-Verse movie, and I hope he returns in this next one, voiced by Nicolas Cage. Super, super funny. It's also being produced by Amazon, which is strange. I'm guessing that's a third-party intermediary, so Marvel and Sony don't get mad at each other again.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how they adapt kind of his origins, because he was never a comic character first. He was actually in the Shattered Dimensions video game first, and they made him kind of a darker Peter Parker, sometimes Uncle Ben, and it was like Spider-Man used guns, and he was a lot more violent. So it'll be interesting to see if they adopt that or if they go with the more goofy version from Into the Spider-Verse.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. This will be set in the 1930s New York, and in its own universe, excuse me. It's also important to note that it's not Peter Parker. Now, we haven't gotten confirmation if it's Ben Parker, but it's definitely going to be someone else. It's not a variant. There's no title yet, and there's also a second Spider-Man-related project being produced by Amazon. There's Silk, Spider Society, which is still in production, but I'm really excited about that.
Really excited for that. Oh, yeah. And executive producer Oren Uziel also worked on Into the Spider-Verse, so we get some of that original touch of the magic being thrown into this.
Yeah, I think the show is in good hands. We'll have to wait and see where Spider-Man Noir takes us. But at least we'll only have to wait just a little bit for one short break before we take a look at artificial intelligence. We'll be right back.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. Why? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. In the last few months, you've likely heard about AI tools, and in recent weeks, these tools have become the talk of the internet and U.S. politics and school campuses. However, these tools have more than college professors concerned. This month, I took a deep dive into the world of machine learning and artificial intelligence to see what all the noise was about.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, has been a topic of interest and speculation for many decades, but in recent years it has rapidly become a reality, changing the way we live, work, and interact with the world around us. AI has the power to revolutionize industries, solve complex problems, and improve our daily lives, but it also raises important ethical, legal, and social questions. AI has already started to take over a huge part of our day-to-day lives. Everything from assembling cars and electronics, moving shipments around warehouses, solving huge computational problems in data analytics, and even deep space physics. It's all being done by machine learning. And it goes even further than those large laborious tasks in factories. For example, that entire opening narration was written by an AI called ChatGPT, which you've likely heard about in the last few weeks. The music in the background right now, also generated by an AI, and even scarier was that entire narration wasn't recorded by me. I used a voice cloning synthesizer made by deep learning to mimic my voice for you. Now, there are a lot of benefits to AI, doing repetitive jobs, reduction in human error, running 24/7, insane data analytics, but when it comes to the downsides, I don't think people are really understanding the scope of artificial intelligence as a whole. But rather than me explaining the downsides to you, I'm going to let someone who is very much smarter than me take over. American author James Barrett, who wrote the book Our Final Invention, has a few key points about artificial intelligence that may go unnoticed.
As Bill Gates said a while ago, he said, in the short term, we're going to get a lot of cool tools from AI. In the long term, we could lose control of it. Now, I wonder why more people aren't worried about that. The malcontents, the people who want to use it for harm, are going to be able to generate propaganda at a much faster rate than they ever could before. It will take jobs. There's a lot of writing jobs that ChatGPT could take tomorrow. We're dumb if we don't think our jobs are threatened, our futures are threatened, our kids' futures. The climate is threatened. You know, to train LAMDA required something like the energy output of 11,000 houses for a year. Models require massive amounts of computational resources. They consume energy at a furious rate, and they generate CO2 emissions that threaten the environment. So these are not earth-gentle technologies.
But it doesn't stop there. These issues are just in the next few years. What James and much of the world are worried about is known as the intelligence explosion. The intelligence explosion is when an AI can teach itself faster than we can keep up and become infinitely more intelligent than us as a result. I mean, think of it like this. Our brains are limited to that of the size of a human skull, while a computer could be as big as a skyscraper, or heck, dozens of them. The issue quickly becomes not who's in control of the AI, but what is the AI in control of?
For us to coexist with something a million times more intelligent than we are, and that's really the reality we're going to face. They're not going to have any need for us. Our intelligence is going to be so puny, they'll have absolutely no need for us, so they will inevitably compete for resources that we want. They'll need energy, we need energy. They'll take all the energy, we'll have nothing to say about it. It will be able to hack and crash everything in our environment, none of which it really needs. And this isn't even it being hostile, this is just it competing, just not understanding that we are creatures worthy of value.
Now, if you didn't quite get what James just said, let me sum it up for you nicely. An AI may not necessarily become malevolent and malicious and be against humanity's interest in that sense, but in the sense that it might have a misalignment, where it's so intelligent that it has its own interests that do not necessarily align with humanity's.
Another interesting thing Stephen Hawking said is that we'll stop understanding what they're doing. We'll stop understanding weapons that they might make. If I pulled out my 12-gauge shotgun and showed it to my dog, I could never explain to him how it worked. as Eliezer Yudkowsky said, the AI doesn't love you or hate you, but you are made of atoms you can use for something else.
So, are we spelling humanity's doom with the advent of artificial intelligence? I certainly hope not. It's kind of fun to use. And I mean, think about it like this. Machines that are more intelligent than us, well, they could cure diseases and unlock life's mysteries about everything we know about the universe and more. On the other hand, we could meet our demise with one press of a power button. All I can say for certain is that we'll have to wait and see what happens in the next few years with technological progress and time. So for now, let's head back to the studio.
Tom, that is freaky. That wasn't you doing the opening narration?
That wasn't me doing any of the narration. Anytime I wasn't on camera, that wasn't me speaking. That was someone else, or that was a different computer mimicking my voice. And you think it's creepy? Imagine hearing your own voice mimicked back to you by a computer.
Yeah, I do not like that. Well, artificial intelligence clearly works in many areas, and that's just what people are worried about. From AI engines taking jobs to academic dishonesty, we don't know where this technology is going next.
But we do know where we're going next here. To a quick break. Then Alex and I will put art in artificial intelligence as we attempt to discern who created some stunning artwork. A good old-fashioned human or a cutting-edge AI engine. We'll be right back.
Now, do you remember when people were trying to figure out whether or not something was made of cake? The internet went insane when a knife smoothly cut through what looked like printers, cell phones, even light bulbs. Well, the internet's traded up from the is it a cake phase. Now no one can tell if something was created using artificial intelligence or by a human.
Let's see if we're as smart, or in Alex's case, as dumb as the rest of the internet. Alex and I were given a few sets of images by our producer Holly that we haven't seen yet. Let's take a look at each of them and try to determine which one is real and which one is AI generated. Let's see the first one up here.
I'm ready. I feel good about this.
Okay.
Ooh.
I think that this one is the AI one just because it's too sharp. His pores are too, it seems too fake.
See, I was going to say this one's AI because it's got a lot of the smoothing. That's my guess.
That's true. That's true. I'm going to go ahead. Okay. I think this one's the AI. I think this one's the human.
I think this one's AI.
Okay.
I'm going to double down.
Let's see what the answer is.
Oh, all right.
Man, all right. Alex was right on that one. Okay,
Boom.
Interesting. Huh, I could have sworn. All right, well, let's move on to the second set of images. Let's see. Okay. Now,
ooh. This one's a little harder.
I think this one's going to be the AI, not just because I'm right next to it, but because there's not a lot of color here. This feels like this is painterly.
See, I'm going to disagree again. I'm going to say this is the AI because there's like no gaps. It's seamless. This looks like a 3D image that was taken. Like you can even see back around the corner behind the door. I'm doubling down. This one's AI.
Okay, I think this one's AI. Let's see the answer. Oh, I was right. Yeah, I think it's just the other one's too painterly. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on and see the next set of images super quickly.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, that's rough.
This is tough.
Looking at the brush strokes, I think I'm going to go with this one being human.
I'm going to agree. I think this one looks too real, and this one looks like actually generated. So I think we're both in agreement. Mm-hmm. This is the AI. Let's see the answer. Oh, my goodness. What?
We are not good at this.
I have got to figure this out. This is crazy. Okay, let's see that next set. Just super quickly.
Just call it out the moment we see it. I bet that's AI.
I think that's human.
You think that's human?
I think that that's too reflective.
All right, let's see it.
That's too reflective. Let's see.
Oh
my goodness!
You're right.
I knew it.
Right.
I knew an AI couldn't do reflections on that. So I think
good
we're
job.
even.
You're easily you'd survive Terminator.
Would I?
Well, while we covered a lot of AI tonight, there's nothing artificial about this. This month's show is coming to an end.
Yes, we can't wait to see where the shows and movies we love are going to go until we see you next time. Maybe we're willing to wait a little bit and see where AI goes, though, because that tech is getting downright scary. But until then,
watch some movies, watch some shows, and maybe consider learning how to live off the grid.
Absolutely, assuming AMC doesn't find a way to charge you for your living room couch seat. We will see you next time.
Have a great night and stay classy, Rams.